Welcome to Royal Romania, and yup, behind me, it's an airport, not a palace. It was here in 1990, just after the revolution, that Romania's last king, Michael, returned. He'd spent over 50 years in exile, and with the execution of Romania's communist king, Ceausescu, decided that at last the time was ripe to return. Sadly, the regime had other ideas, and within a matter of hours, the old king was bundled back onto the runway, Switzerland bound. The new powers that be decided they weren't ready to risk the return of Royal Romania.
Poor old Michael, or Mihai as he's known here. It wasn't the first time he'd been given his marching orders. I'm meeting historian Filip Iorga in Bucharest Royal Palace, where, in an extraordinary act of bravery, King Michael confronted Romania's fascist general in World War II.
So what was the king actually like?
He was 22 years old. It's incredible. He was almost a teenager.
So in other words, your young king in 1944 leads basically the revolt to make Romania swap sides in the war.
Hitler lost a lot. He was furious. He lost the Carpathians and he lost the Romanian oil. He didn't have any fuel for his tanks. The king and his team tried to save what could be saved at the time. And even Western historians say his action shortened the war with almost 6 months and saved hundreds of thousands of lives.
But then it is a bit of a nightmare, isn't it? Because what you have is the beginning of communism.
Unfortunately, his decision was not enough to save Romania because the Red Army came to the country.
Royalty and communism didn't mix, and no one knew that better than Michael's grandmother, Queen Marie of Romania. Her first cousin, Tsar Nicholas of Russia, had been murdered by the communists in 1918. And here she is in all her youthful glory. And you can see there she is embracing traditional Romanian attire. She absolutely adored Romania, but it did take her a while to get used to the place. She was in fact born in England, the granddaughter of Queen Victoria, married off aged just 17, not to a handsome Romanian prince, but to a very plain German one. So how did this happen? Well, Romania, like many other East European countries at the end of the 19th century, decided it needed to put itself on the map, and that the best way of doing that was to go shopping for a foreign monarch. The first of this imported royalty to arrive was Prince Carol from Germany. Now he and Marie, Romania's future queen, didn't really get on, but they did both adore the spectacular countryside here. There was just one thing missing in this fantasy landscape though: a fairy castle.
A staggering regal vision that nestles in the foothills of the Carpathian Mountains. Romania's first king, Carol, wanted something original and eye-catching, and he certainly achieved that with this alpine project.
Carol spent loads of time and money on this place. It was the first European palace with all the mod cons: hot running water, central heating, and electricity. Even the roof moved.
Inside and out, Peleș is a hodgepodge of international influences. The Baroque interiors give way to themed rooms: Moorish, Turkish, European, with top-end accessories.
And these Venetian mirrors. This one is the biggest in the castle. It was brought here first of all by ship, then loaded onto the Orient Express, which used to stop in Sinaia, and from Sinaia put on a buffalo cart and brought up to the castle. Carol's regal glory, forever reflected back at him. You can probably understand why the Crown Princess didn't find this the most homely of places. The castle was, and still is, a statement piece. This was Carol's study. But with its walnut and oak interiors and endless stained glass windows, not everyone was pleased. English Marie complained, everything seems to have been planned to shut out the sky, the sun.
Cue Peleș, just down the lane, the princess's dainty alternative. cosy, contemporary and elegant all at once.
Of all the rooms, the finest is this one, Camera de Aur. Whether it was working with arts and craft or Art Nouveau, she would own all these international trends and turn them into something really splendid. Her idea to place these gilded thistles on the wall, of course her father was the Duke of Edinburgh, and she even designed the Celtic wheels, the motifs on these chairs. It was in fact where she finally died in 1938. Just 6 years ago, Romania decided to return her heart in this casket to its rightful resting place. And here it is, beneath a Romanian flag and a British one.
The affection between the British monarchy and the Romanian one outlived Marie. Her grandson Michael had been a childhood friend and relation of Prince Philip, who became the Duke of Edinburgh. And after the war, Michael spent much of his exile in England. Britain's future king, Prince Charles, adores Romania. No one knows that better than Camilla Cichi, Romania's best-known royal reporter.
I love Prince.
Yes! I'm quite fond of him too.
Vine foarte des, are 10 proprietăți în România. Spune că s-a înrudit cu Dracula și îmi place foarte mult la el este faptul că atunci când vine în România subliniază rolul familiei regale române. Mi se pare foarte drăguț faptul că prințul Charles este fermecat de România și că îi face publicitate României.
For many years, neither Prince Charles nor King Michael could enter Romania. That all changed in the 1990s.
Michael was allowed back into the country and the people welcomed him with open arms. They loved him until his dying day, but it had never been an easy road. Kings and queens have come and gone and more than left their mark. And now the royal family is part of something greater, more majestic even than monarchy. And that is democratic Romania. You are the queen champion. Anyone can be queen in Romania these days. The thing is, Alice, you're 14 and it's a well-known fact that young people don't feel the fear. Așa, am încheiat-o? Brilliant, I'm ready to go. Thank you, Alice.